In this video, I'm doing part 3 of a commentary on a match between Masayuki Mochizuki, or Mochi, and Steve Sax from the 2022 Las Vegas Masters Jackpot round of 32. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below and what you'd like to see in future videos so I can work on that. Thank you to Mark Olson of Backgammon Galaxy and Bill Riles of Point Backgammon for allowing me to use this video in the commentary. They have a lot of great, outstanding videos to watch. There's a link in the description. My book, Backgammon Backgame Strategies, is now available. There's a link in the description to where you can get it. And I am also offering lessons. If you're interested, please contact me via email. My email address is in the description. So this is part 3. It's a 15-point match. Steve is leading 12-2, so 3 away, 13 away. Steve is playing the white checkers at the bottom. Mochi is playing the green checkers at the top. They look black on the stream. So now Steve rolls a 3-1. Mochi's already made the anchor. So Steve cannot make his 5-point, of course. I think he'll just have to play behind. You can see they're playing on the beautiful Backgammon Galaxy Earth board. I'll put a link in the description. The names of the players are located above and below the board, and the score and the pip count are at the upper right and lower right. So Steve does play behind. You can see the clocks on the left side and the player cams, and the dice are also visible on the screen, so I don't have to read the dice. That makes it easier. The XG feed is on the left below my camera. So Mochi is far behind in the score and gives an early double. So this, for money, it would be clear, but here it's actually a double at this score. Now Mochi rolls a 5-3, makes the 3-point. Now he has a 2-point board. Double 4 for Steve. So he starts by making his 4-point. And then what he can do is make the 2-point, that unstacks, and then just advances. That puts a little pressure on the stripped 8 and 9 points by Mochi. Alternatively, he could play 13-9 with 2 of them. He's counting the race. Steve counts the pips really quickly, just about as fast as anybody. Now Mochi rolls a 5-4. So what happens when his 8 and 9 points are stripped is if he wants to do something, he's going to have to break the point like that. So now Steve's on the bar looking for a 5. He doesn't get it. He gets a 6-1, so the ace is forced, and there are 3 legal options. So he can go 24-18, but 13-7 is better behind in the race. You can look at the plus-plus analysis too. Okay, so now Mochi rolls a 5-3. He does want to cover, so that's the 3. Now as for the 5, there isn't really a better alternative to hitting. So he does gain the tempo. He does have the better, more pure point board. And Steve comes in with a 4-1. So comes in, and now he doesn't have a good 4. He can't move either of his back checkers. If he plays 13-9, he leaves another blot. So He just plays 6-7 to 3. Now Mochi dances. Steve has the initiative, and he rolls a 6-2. So that's productive. He can hit another checker back, partially escaping one of the back checkers. Mochi's looking for a 3. No, he doesn't get it. He gets a double 1. But he comes in with both and switches, puts Steve on the bar. Steve rolls a 2-1, so he's forced to come in with a 1. And with the 2, he's going to have to do something. If he plays 16 to 14, that duplicates the hitting 2s. That's what he does. Good play by Steve. Double 6 by Mochi. That's a great roll. So he can come out to the bar point, or to his 18 point, Steve's bar point, but that turns out to be a blunder. It's better to just go all the way to 13 to 1 and make his ace point on head. This does create a very disconnected position called an overextended position. Basically all of Mochi's checkers are in the inner boards with the exception of the 2 on his 8 point. That makes the back checkers really disconnected, and it's going to be hard to continue. So he rolls a 3-2, hits and continues, trying to keep Steve on the bar. Another 5-3, so he's forced to come in with a 3, and then he comes down, minimizes the blots with the 5. Double 2 for Mochi. Okay, so he has some options. He can make his 4 point, but he really needs to hit. So he does that. And then he just safeties the other blot. You see the 4 to hit is duplicated to enter. Always looking at those. 6-5, Steve dances. Now Mochi's looking to win a double gammon. He rolls a 6-5. So he's got to do something about those back checkers. He brings one out, makes his 11 point, safeties another checker. Mochi's going to be juggling a few things at once. So Steve rolls a 3-2. He's forced to come in with the 3, and he doesn't want to leave another blot. He's already way behind in the race. So he just plays 6-4. Now a 6-4 for Mochi. So he really needs to come out there. Now for the 4, he just plays 11-7. That's what I would have done. It looks like 6-2 is a little better. 3-2 for Steve. So he can make his ace point or play 13-8. He makes the ace point. Okay, so now Mochi has a 6-4. This is one of those things where you don't really have a lot of good options. So ideally, Mochi would have liked to possibly do something about his back checkers with maybe a double, like a double 5, double 4, double 3, something like that. But he has a lot to do. He's got to worry about his back checkers and safety his blots and try to contain Steve all at the same time. So he just plays all the way behind. They're all virtually tied on the plus-plus analysis. Now Steve's looking to hit with the 4. He gets a double 2, the wrong kind of 4. So he can't move the back checkers, which is what he would have liked to do. Even splitting them or coming out with a 6 would have been nice. And of course he would have liked to hit with the 4. But alas, he cannot do any of those. So he's got to play with some of the other checkers. So he can bring 3 down from the midpoint, 13-11 3 times. And then with the 4th one, he has a few reasonable options. One is just 13-9, leaving a single blot. And that does duplicate some of the 2s, like 3-2 and 4-2, which would make the 4 point for Mochi. But the safer play of 3-1 is a little bit better. You really don't want to dump an extra checker on the ace point, especially when you have 3 checkers back and your midpoint is broken. But you don't want to give Mochi a chance to hit another checker back, and increase the gammons. So you see the 13-9, the gammon losses are 18.6%, whereas 3-1, the gammon losses are only 11.5%. In a match, gammons are more favorable for the trailer. So 5-3, not a good roll for Mochi. He would have liked to hit, but of course he cannot. He's looking at what he can play. So he's looking at this play. Reasonable. XG likes the double falcon of clearing the 18 point better. But he didn't want to leave two blots. Okay, another double 2 for Steve. Not good. Now he's going to have to clear his 11.2 with 2 checkers to the 9 point and just do something on the inside like that. Now 3-1. So he just makes his point, gives him the shot. Look at Steve's board. He has 2 open points and a blot on his board. So he has a 3-point board. 5-1. So he can hit. That's a very volatile play. It does lose more gammons, but it is the DMP play. It wins slightly more games. He does have to hit, but it's just really hard to go for that right now because you lose a lot of gammons. Of course, we have the XG feed, but he doesn't know all these percentages over the board, of course. These are through computer analysis. So he's looking at just the safe play. And he does. Now Mochi rolls a 6-2. So he comes out with the 6, not afraid of being hit with Steve's 2 blots in his board. So 4-2 for Steve. That's not a terrible number because he can hit and make a point. The reason why Mochi left that blot there is because it's going to be hard for Steve to both hit and clean up the blots. But Steve's able to do that. If he's able to get out of this, might save the gammon. So 5-2, Mochi just comes in and continues. Looks like it was better to go 12-10 and put pressure on those remaining forward checkers. So 5-4 for Steve. He can hit again, or he can play safely on the inside. And he does hit. He does have a 4-point board. He has the worst 4-point board. All right, Mochi comes in with a 6-5. So he's going to want to hit, of course, with the 6. And then the 5. It looks natural to continue. XG likes 6-1. Looks like that wins some more gammons because you get double shots. So this duplicates the 2s. But I think Mochi wants to try to get more checkers back, because he does have a stronger board, so he is a favorite in a hitting exchange, and he does have a purer board, meaning the only gap in his board is on the 3-point. The gaps in Steve's board are on the highest point, so anytime Mochi enters from the bar, he'll be ahead of the prime. All right, Steve's on the bar looking for a 3-1, double 3. No, he dances with a 2-1. Mochi's looking to hit with 3s and 1s. 2-1, he hits. So he hits that checker. Now he's going to have a double shot at the other checker. He's going to have some backgammons here. Steve's in big trouble. He dances again. Now Mochi's looking for a 4 or a 1 to hit. He does get it, 4-3. So 4, and then the 3, he can come down. What you want to look at is how safely double 6s play. Here they play okay for Mochi next. Steve dances again with 3 on the bar and 2 back. Also, Steve has some backgammon losses, so that would be great for Mochi. He would get to 8 points. Steve's looking to come in. Nope, he dances with the 2-1. Now Mochi has a 3-2 to play. So he doesn't necessarily want to come into his 6 point because that's the next point he wants to clear. It's a minor issue. Okay, so Steve comes in with a double 3. That's going to save a lot of backgammons and some gammons. All right, so Mochi rolls a 6-4. He plays the 6 in because he's forced. And then the 4, he plays 6-2. Steve's just looking to save the gammon, although 2/3 of Mochi's wins are going to be gammons here. Double 6, that's a great roll for Steve. That's going to save a lot of gammons. That nearly halved Mochi's gammons. 6-5, he clears. He does have an odd checker on the highest point, meaning that a subsequent 6-5, 5-4, 6-4, double 4s, 5s, or 6s, and even double 3s will leave a shot. Now Steve has a 4-1. Just trying to bring his checkers home. 4-3, so he's going to have to safely clear his 4 point. Now Mochi's going to have some bad rolls like 6-5, 6-4, 5-4, 5-3, 6-3. Okay, so Steve does the amoeba split. Trying to get a double shot. No, Mochi doesn't leave it. He gets a 6-2, takes off 2 checkers. Steve's still trying to save the gammon. And he rolls a 5-3, trying to maximize his crossovers, despite leaving a blood on his board in the event that he does get a shot. He still has to also think about saving the gammon. Great roll for Mochi, double 6, bears off 4 checkers. Now Steve's going to need big rolls. 3-1, not very big. 6-3, bearing off 2 checkers. Now 5-3. He can get 2 crossovers like that. Steve's likely going to need double 6s. No, he concedes the gammon. So Mochi wins 4 points, going to 6. So Mochi is now at 9 away and Steve is 3 away. In the commentaries, I always stress the importance of knowing the away score, and that's more important than the absolute score. Here, the match is to 15, so the goal is to get to 15 points. The absolute score is 12-6 in favor of Steve. But that's not as important as how much they have to get to the goal of 15. Steve has 3 points to go to get there, so he is 3 away. Mochi has 9 points, so he is 9 away. So 5-1, and then Mochi makes the bar point with a 6-1. 4-3, great roll for Steve. That's great. When you're ahead in the match, you want to decrease your gammons, and making an advanced anchor really helps with that. Now with the 6-2, he safely brings another checker down and splits his back checkers, improving the control of Steve's outfield. 4-3, Steve's going to just play safe, 13-6. 4-1 for Mochi. So I think he's just going to want to keep his back checkers back and bring another builder. Double 4 for Steve. So he's going to make that point and make the other point, maintaining his anchor. He will be up by 16 pips afterwards, but that made his position really strong. 6-4, good roll for Mochi. He's able to make that advanced anchor himself. Anytime your opponent has an advanced anchor, if you're able to make an advanced anchor yourself, that equalizes things a lot. So Steve could have played safe, but since he has the better board, he went for the aggressive play. Now Mochi rolls a 6-4. makes his 2 point. 6-5 for Steve. So what can he do with this one? He can make his 3 point, leaving the blot. Does have a 4 point board with a blot in it. But if Mochi hits, he'll have to break that anchor. See, the safe play was virtually tied. Now Mochi rolls a 6-3, plays safe behind. Now we have a mutual holding game. Both players have an advanced anchor. 3-1 for Steve. Great roll. He's able to make his 5 point and the best 5 point board. Now with the 4-3, Mochi's going to have to just safely play behind. Now it's basically who's going to roll the first set of doubles or leave a shot. 6-1. So he cannot move a checker from the midpoint. He's forced to play off the 20 point, and that just safeties it. Okay, so double 4 for Mochi. Now, look at this. He can hit, but he has 2 blots in his board, and Steve has the best 5 point board. He can't play that aggressive. Just has to play the safe play. It did gain ground in the race, so now Mochi is up by 8 pips in the race. 6-2. So now the race is even. I think Steve's just going to have to try to safety or get out of there with his back checker. And that's what he does. And the 2 doesn't really matter. He's trying to keep a little bit more contact. So 3-2, great roll for Mochi. He's able to hit and cover. That was Steve's fear there. Now Steve needs to come in with a 5 or a 3 and possibly hit with a 6-5 or a 2. 3-3, double 3. So he comes in and comes down and continues, maintaining his midpoint. Now, Mochi is ahead by 4 pips. So you want to look at the position, the race, the threats, and the score. So in terms of the position, Mochi is trying to contain one of Steve's blots. The race, he is slightly ahead in the race. And Steve does have a 5 point board, the best 5 point board. So if Steve's able to hit a fly shot somehow, he'll be in command. But with the score, Mochi is down by a lot, so he needs to be aggressive with these cubes. Turns out to be a strong double on XG, but a very comfortable take. And Steve does. Steve likes to move the dice out of the way when he's looking at the position. Okay, with the 6-2, he can pick and pass. But that's actually a blunder. He just wants to play safe. I know you want to win a gammon, but winning a game is good too. 5-1. He can't come out. So he just plays safely down, trying to slot his bar point to make it. Now with the 3-1, he's looking at the pick and pass. But he just makes his 5 point, which is better. Double 5, so the back checker is trapped, so he plays 1. And he's going to play 2 to the ace point. And he plays the final one there to the 3 point. Okay, 5-1 for Mochi. He picks and passes. Looks like hitting loose was slightly better. 6-3. Steve's able to come in. 3-2 for Mochi. Now he hits loose. Steve's on the bar. If Steve dances, Mochi may have some gammons Steve does with double 4. Now Mochi's looking for a 6 to cover. He doesn't get it. 5-4. All right. Steve has another shot at a 3, and a 6-3 would be a joker. No, he dances with the 4-2. Now Mochi has the initiative. Double 6. Great roll. He comes in, covers, bears off 3 checkers. Steve's on the bar. Now Mochi has 3 to 4% gammons if he can get Steve to continue dancing, but he doesn't. That's going to save a lot of gammons. Now it's just a bear off, and Steve's trying to save the gammon, which is very likely, and if he rolls big, he might even be able to win. With the 6-2, he just comes in all the way. 4-3, Mochi takes off 2 checkers. Looks like Mochi's going to get 8 points after this game to be 7 away. 7 away, 3 away. Okay, so that's Jin, and that's what happens. Mochi gets 8 points. He's at 7 away. Steve still has 12 points at 3 away. All right, next game. Steve opens with a 6-3. A lot of people don't understand the importance of splitting with an opening 6-3, 6-4, 6-2. Double 3 against these splits, it's correct to make the bar point on head, not hit elsewhere. Double 1, so come in with the first one, make the 5 points, and then you can either split or 10 to 9. However, here you don't want to split because Mochi has 10 checkers in the zone. He has a great chapter in his book, Backgammon Masterclass, about strategic visualization, when you want to split and when you do not want to split. Mochi has a blitzing formation and also a priming formation, but you don't want to split into a blitzing formation. So now this 3-2, this is the 2-up play, what's called the Middle Eastern split by Bill Roberti. Steve has a priming formation. He doesn't have enough checkers to blitz. So Mochi's trying to make an advanced anchor or possibly escape a checker to avoid being primed. 4-1 for Steve. He's able to... Okay, so now he has the option of hitting twice or making the blocking point with making the 9 point. He does put 2 on the bar, but it looks like making the 9 point was a little better here. Right, Mochi comes in with both checkers with a 4-1. Now Steve's trying to attack and make a board. 6-3, so he's able to do that. Hits with a 6 and makes his 3 point with a 3. He's hoping Mochi dances. He doesn't. Mochi comes in with a 4-2. Great roll. Hits, of course, with the 4 and just brings one down with the 2. The only reasonable and safe option. So 6-3 is just going to pop out. He doesn't want to play 13-7. Now Mochi's looking, but decides not to double. Okay, so now with the 6-4, a lot of people would just immediately hit, but you have to look at the whole board. Look what happens. He can play the 21-11, safety 1 back checker. If you do hit, you would have to break the midpoint. He doesn't want to do that. So now he's looking at the hit. Hitting will win more gammons, but it gives Steve good 6s from the bar. Steve cannot come in with a 6 if he were on the bar, but he can hit with a 6. So that diversifies his numbers. Good play by Mochi. Now Steve rolls a 5-4. So he plays the 5 down and then the 4 down, not to leave a direct shot. 4-3 for Mochi. So Mochi's biggest liability right now is his back checker. He needs to get it moving, so he takes this opportunity to do so. And you see that's better than just clearing the 11 point. So 6-1 for Steve. He's able to hit loose on his 4 point. Mochi's looking for a 4. No, he gets a 6-2. He's forced to come in with the 2 and the 6. He just brings the builder to the 5 point. Steve rolls a 6-2 himself. Now he can, so he has two options. He can point on head or make the bar point. So here, it looks like it's actually fairly correct to make that blocking point. So 4-1 from the bar. He can come in with either. So he just plays behind like that. When you have these kinds of options and you're on the bar, you want to look at it and see, do I want to come in with the 4 or do I want to come in with the ace? And if I come in with the 4, where do I play the ace? If I come in with the ace, where do I play the 4? So if he comes in with the 1 or the ace, he has to play the 4 behind, and he does that. If he comes in with the 4, he's going to be under the gun, and he has to play 6 to 5, which is awkward. So good play. Now Steve rolls a 5-3, and he can't move his back checkers. So 13, he's got to move 1 from the midpoint. Oh, look at that. XG likes slotting because of that blot in the board. And it duplicates some numbers. 6-5, that's a good roll for Mochi. He's able to escape his back checker. Just looking. He's ahead by only 2 pips, but Steve has those 2 back checkers trapped behind a solid 4 prime. Now double 5. It's not a good roll because now he's forced to break his midpoint and his 2 back checkers are stranded. Now Mochi is looking to double. So it's a small no double on the plus analysis. Let's look at the plus analysis. This is basically a borderline no double. So again, looking at the position, the race, and the threats, Steve's biggest liability is those 2 back checkers. He's going to have trouble, but if he can roll a big double, like a double 6, he'll be able to get out. It's Mochi who rolls the double 6. So he's just going to safety everything. He's ahead big in the race now after that double 6. Now Steve's going to want something of his own. 5-2, he's just got to play 8-1. Mochi's looking to clear. That's double 1. He makes the point and just plays 7-6. Good play. Now he has a solid 5 prime. The 4 point is filled in. That provides additional landing spots. 3-2. So he's saving a 6. So he's not forced to break the anchor. 4-1. Okay, so he's able to make his 2 point and redistribute a spare from his 7 to a 6. Double 6 would be bad for Mochi next, but not terrible. 4-2. So he can just make the 4 point. Good play by Steve. Mochi's looking to just clear safely. And he can break his 8 point. Now Mochi needs to worry about his 4s because he wants to clear his bar point next, and 4s are blocked. So he wants to make sure he has some 4s to play. And he does. So the 5 he's going to want to use to clear 7-2, and then the 4 he'll just make his board. And he still has another spare left to play a 4 from 6-2. 2-1. So Steve's going to play there, and it doesn't really matter if he plays 2-1 or 4-3. 5-1. So he can just clear. It's a little bit awkward to have those two spares on the 6 point without any on the 5 or 4. It's going to make 6-3 leave a shot. So Steve rolls a 3-1. 5-3 is safe, but he does have to worry about clearing the 6 point. So now 3s will be forced to be played off the 4 point, possibly leaving a shot. Double 4, that's a great roll. He's just going to clear completely. Now Steve's way behind in the race. 6-5 is a decent racing number. He's going to need a little bit more. 3-1. Okay, so now Mochi's got to leave a shot. He's just thinking if he's going to hit or not. They're close, but he doesn't hit. 4-3 for Steve. He's just going to escape. Trying to save the gammon. And Steve's a big favorite to save the gammon, but Mochi's going to win this game 99% of the time. So Mochi's going to get to 10 points and be at 5 away. 5 away, 3 away. Steve and Mochi are two of the best players in the world, and they're very good friends with each other and with me. I've met Mochi myself once or twice, but I've known Steve for a very long time. We play together all the time. I've learned a lot from him. Both of them actually helped me with my recent book, Backgame Strategies. Alright, so Steve is ahead in the score, so he's going to want to run. Double 1, good roll. He's able to make both points. Steve rolls a 3-2, so he's able to make his 11 point. That's cocked. 6-4. Okay, so now Mochi has some options. He doesn't necessarily want to make that 2 point because it's a little deep and that just basically strips everything else. But making that split is slightly the wrong idea. It does duplicate the 6-1. So now Steve rolls a 6-4. He can make his bar point, which is nice, but it does leave Mochi a direct 6. He decides to hit twice. Now Mochi's looking for an ace to hit. He doesn't get it. He comes in with a 4. Steve's looking for a pick and pass number. Gets a 6-3. He's able to make his board nicely. He does have that liability with that awkward stack. Double 1. Great roll for Mochi. He hits, makes the anchor. Now 5-1 for Steve. The 1 is forced and he just redistributes a checker from the 13 to the 8 point. Now Mochi doubles. So when you're getting to these scores that are close to the end of the match, like 3 away, 5 away, what you want to do is think about what happens if you lose a game, what happens if you lose a gammon. If he loses a gammon, he's behind 3-away, 1-away Crawford, which is not good. And Mochi is winning more gammons here, but still a comfortable take. Okay. So now 4-away, 3-away. And this is a very interesting score. If you're interested in learning about these match scores, Nick Blazier talks about this a lot. This score and other scores a lot in his book, 4-away, 3-away, and 3-away, 2-away, comparing them. You need to understand that the gammons are more valuable. At 4-away, 3-away, the trailer can double more aggressively in one-way gammonish positions. If you're interested in learning more about match score considerations, Dirk Schiemann has a lot in his book, The Theory of Backgammon. It is very technical, there's a lot of math, but you need to understand the math to know why things are correct. And I understand Michihito Kageyama is working on a book to come out soon, hopefully, on the 5-point match. And his books are really good, really well written, very easy to read. So now with the 4-3, he anchors and just comes out so that Mochi cannot attack and make a point in the board. Now with 5-1, he can just make that point. Very good, that's what he does. Steve's looking to hit. He gets a 3-2, and he's able to do that and just continue. And if Mochi hits back with the 4, he'll have to break his anchor, unless he rolls a 6-5. He does not, none of the above, 3-1. So he's going to come in and come down. Looks like XG liked it slightly better to come down 13-10 because the 10-point bears on more inner board points, but they're very close. 5-3, Steve points on head. So Mochi comes in with the 3-1, and he just safeties. Four, 3 for Steve. Okay. So that's something very good to learn. If you're going to leave a blot, leave it in front of a point where you want your opponent to break. So that was a valuable asset Mochi had to give up, but it was actually good because he's able to safety the other checker. Now 6-2 for Steve. Not good. He's got to come in. He's behind in the race, so he brings one down, maintaining the contact. 3-1 for Mochi. When you have those stacks on the 8 and the 6, you really want to use them. And this is a perfect way to use them to make the 5-point despite leaving the blots on the other side. Now 3-1 for Steve. He can do the same thing. Notice that hitting is a major blunder. So Mochi has a cube decision. Not quite a double yet. He rolls a 4-1, just brings one around. Another 3-1. So just clear his 8-point, make that bar point. That blocks Mochi's 6s from the back with the 6-1. So now he has options. So he can make his bar point, he can try to escape. Making the bar point is better. It'll block Steve's back checkers. Double 2. Okay. Anytime you roll a double, you need to stop, slow down, think, because there are a lot more ways of playing doubles versus non-doubles. So look at all the ways you can play a 2 and then think about what you want to do. It turns out you really wanted to get that back checker moving. The 9-point is nice, but in this case it was more important to move one of the back checkers. Now Mochi has a double 3. So he can move one up, or he can make that 10-point. He's trying to make that inner board point. Let's see what the plus-plus analysis says. Looks like you're not supposed to make your point. You're just supposed to prime them in. Six-5 for Steve. So he can't really do anything productive with his back checker because the checker on the 23 point can only go to the 18 point, and then there's no 6. He doesn't want to play another checker off the anchor. So he's got a hit with that. And the other option is dumping one behind, which is ugly, but you can't afford to give up the anchor. Now Mochi's thinking about doubling here from the bar. And look at that. Mochi has more gammons here, and the score is 4 away, 3 away. It's a very strong double, but still a take. Mochi can hit with 4s, 3-1, and double 2. That's 15 numbers. If he does hit, Steve's going to be in trouble with 4 checkers back. So he doubles, Steve takes, and now 5-2. He's forced to come in with the 2 and brings the checker down. Mochi's looking for a doubled gammon to win the match. 4-3 for Steve. I think he's just going to have to cover and hit. Hoping the Mochi dances. Steve does have the stronger board. No. 3-2. He comes in and hits. That was a great roll for Mochi and brings a checker from the 8 point to have a spare and a builder on the 5 point. Steve's looking to come in. Comes in with the 5-3. So he has to come in on the 3 and he has to hit with the 5. Gaining the tempo. Alright, that's good for Steve. Mochi danced. Steve's looking to make his 2 point and start escaping some of his back checkers. So he can cover, and he can't move a back checker with the 2, so he just plays 5-3. Good play. Good roll. Mochi needs a 1 to come in. Double 1. Okay, so 1. And now he can extend the prime, making it a solid prime. Solid primes are much stronger than broken primes, so that's going to be a nice asset for Mochi. Double 5 for Steve. Okay, so he's going to have to hit on his ace point. Mochi gets an immediate 6. Good roll for Mochi, and he can't play off his 18, his midpoint. He can continue, or he can hit one loose. Or he can play behind. Playing behind is safer. Wins more games. This wins a little bit more gammons. They're pretty close. Now Steve rolls a 6-1. He's forced to come in, and he's got to come out there. That duplicates Mochi's hitting 4s and covering 4s. Now 5-1. He's got to make the ace point on head. You don't want to make that ace point, but it's better than breaking that bar point. 4-3. So he comes in with the 3, and now the 4 is not good because he can't afford to break that anchor on the 17 point. He's got to have to break his board, unfortunately for Steve. So now with the 6-2, he hits loose, and with the 6, he's just got to bring one to his midpoint. He doesn't want to break the midpoint. Steve's looking for a 3 to come in, although he still does have a blot on the board. 5-2. Okay, not terrible. He comes in, and he's able to safety that other checker. Mochi's looking to attack that back checker. 3-1. Okay, so how's he going to do this? Because if he plays the 3 to safety, he doesn't really have a good ace. Looks like he's going to have to hit loose and then just bring that down with 13-10. It does duplicate the 2s very nicely. 6-5, Steve danced. Now Mochi's looking for a double gammon to win the match. 5-1. There you go, and bring 1. That's a builder for the 3 point. Double 1, Steve dances. Now Mochi's going to win lots of gammons here. He brings that in. That'll help him make his board with a double 6 next. Leaves a 4-3 and a 5-3. No, he gets the 3-2. So the 3 is forced, and he's got to play the 2 on his side. 11-9 saves the most gammons. He's just trying to be safe in the event of a hitting exchange. He doesn't want to leave a blot on his board. Double 4, so 1, 2, 3, and then think he's got to just bring one more in, despite the fact that it leaves another blot. Mochi has a lot of gammons here. Steve's going to need a 3 quickly. He gets it. 3-1. That's a good roll. He hits 2 checkers. That was a huge swing. Now Steve's a small favorite to actually win. Double 5. That's a great roll. They're both. It's the battle of jokers. Now Mochi still has some gammons here. So Steve's got to find a way to just minimize shots. And this is the way to do it. Gives him 1s and also other 7s like 5-2 and 4-3. 4-3, he gets it. And he's able to hit. Steve's going to need another 3. 3-1 would be nice again, or a 5-3. 3-1 again, great roll. He hits both checkers. Oh no, he comes in and hits the other checker, sorry. Mochi dances. 3-2 for Steve. So, how is he going to want to play this one? He makes a safe play. Mochi's going to need to come in with a 6 or a 5. He dances with a 4-3. Steve's going to want a 5. No, he gets a double 1. He's just going to have to play safe. Mochi's looking to come in. He does. He gets the 6, and he's going to hit loose with the 3. You have to play aggressive there. Steve needs another 3. No, 5-1. Gammons are back on. Over a third of time. All right, that helped Mochi a lot. Mochi has more than 40% gammons. Steve can't roll, so he just hits his clock. Mochi comes around. Double 6s will be bad. Double 3s are bad too. But he gets a 6-4. Just plays to the 2 point. Four 2 bears off a checker. Mochi's trying to bear off as many checkers as possible before Steve comes in. So that's 4 checkers off, but it does leave the blot. Steve's looking for a 5. Even a 6 would save some gammons for Steve. Nope. He likes to shake his dice. 6-4, so he comes in and gets another crossover. Trying to save the gammons. Mochi still has some gammons here. Double 5, great roll for Mochi. Steve's going to need something really good. Mochi has only 6 checkers left. 5-3. He's going to need to maximize his crossovers, and that's exactly what he does. 5-3. Mochi's going to need is going to take off 2 checkers. Steve's going to need some crossovers here to save the match-winning doubled gammon. 5-3. Okay, so he can't. So now he's going to need a double to play. So you basically need to look at what are your doubles that are going to save the gammon after this. So now he's going to need double 5s or better. But it looks like he can't get anything else. Mochi can win the match with a double 2 or better, or if Steve does not roll a double 5 or better. Rolls a 4-3. Steve's going to need double 5 or double 6 to stay in this match. Otherwise, Mochi moves on. And 6-5. Steve does not get it. Mochi gets the gammon to win the match. Congratulations to Mochi. And that was the end of this long match. It was a 3-part series. Congratulations to Mochi. This was an outstanding match to watch. We learned a lot. And these are two of the best players in the world. There's always a lot that you can learn from watching their matches. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, what you'd like to see in future videos so I can work on that. Thank you to Bill Riles of Point Backgammon and Mark Olson of Backgammon Galaxy for allowing me to use this video in the commentary. Again, my book, Backgammon Backgame Strategies, is now available. There's a link in the description where you can buy it. And actually, both Mochi and Steve were very helpful in me writing that book, so I thank them. I am offering lessons. If you're interested, please contact me via email. My email is in the description below. I look forward to seeing you in future videos, and until then, keep rolling your dice.